Hey guys, so I am super excited to share with you my new fleece. I could have purchased it, but I know how to sew. My mom's willing to help me sew, and so we just decided to take 30 plus hours of our time and sew up some fleece. So I'm gonna I don't have a tutorial on how to do it because it was just so much work. So I'm just gonna show you what I've made and kind of talk about it a little bit. So let's get started. So our first item is, the pattern I got is donut. This is the size for the girls. It's pretty big. It's kind of hard for you guys to see, but the length of this is about 4.5 grids. That's the length of it, 4.5 grids in length. So it's brown on the back side, and then you've got the donut in the front. There are 2 of these per cage. So for the girls, it takes 2 of these to cover the entire cage. If you're wondering on what my pattern is to sew, if you'll follow my Potty pads, this is typically how I sewed it. I know this is not how everybody does it, but I sewed one down the center, and then I sewed one from the edge here, one from the edge here, and on that I can link you below on how I create a Potty pad, and that'll give you some idea. This is the girls, so again, there were 2 of them. I have 2 different patterns, and I just rotate them. So the girls, they're on, well, they're currently on the other pattern, whereas the boys are on this pattern. So, and then I rotate. So for each of these patterns, I created one wide Potty pad. So one in length, it's a double, it's 2 grids size. And then I also created a 1 grid Potty pad. I did 2 of those for each pattern. And now I'm gonna show you the other pattern and this is, it just happens to be in the boys' fleece. The reason why I can't show you all of my fleece is because currently the girls, they're both in the cage, the other pattern. So I'm just gonna show you the 2 different patterns. So their pattern, or the other pattern I have, is, I don't know what you'd call this, cheetah print, leopard print. I always get those confused, but it's this pattern on this side, and then just a solid pattern. This is a bright blue, kind of like a turquoise pattern, and so they're reversible. You could easily do this, but this just shows the less amount of dirt. If I turned it over to this side, I would have to do more washing. And the boys' size of theirs is about a 3.5 grid length. They have a 2x6 cage, and the girls have a 2x9 cage. But again, it's the same thing the way I created it. It's the line down the center and then 2 lines on the side. The reason why I have to do that is because my mom's sewing machine cannot take this much fabric. So we have to literally sew one side. It's got 2 pads of U-Haul padding on the inside. So we sew 1 pad to one side, 1 pad to the other, and then we combine them and sew them on the center. So it's a lot more extra work, but you know, I'm not willing to go out and buy a new sewing machine that'll account for that. So, of course, with this, there's 2 for this one as well. So, and then I also I made, the 1 Potty pad, the double Potty pad. It's 2 grids in length, and then I have 2 of these. So this took me, again, about 30 plus hours. Was a lot of work. If you don't know how to sew, the easiest way is to find a person who will you can order it from. It is pretty expensive. I got all of this like 40% off. Every time I tend to do a project, I pick a day when I need to do it, and it just so happens Joann's is having a sale. So I usually get a lot of this fabric 40% off, and so this probably cost me, to make the cage itself with the fleece and buying the Coroplast, it was probably a $200 project. Now I actually had all my grids. I didn't need to purchase any grids, so you would have to add that on as extra cost, but it was probably, all this fleece cost me around $70 to $80, and the Coroplast was $15 per sheet, and I had to have 3 sheets. So all in all, I mean, it was a little under $200. So just keep that in mind if you want to do a Coroplast cage. It is a little bit more expensive than what I used to do, but it is a lot easier to clean, and it's just a lot, and it's going to last you a long time. And when it comes to washing, you can either, like if you plan on sewing this, you can either wash all your materials beforehand and then sew, or you can sew it all together and then wash it several times. Both times I did, the last time I did some potty pads, and then this time I did this, I didn't pre-wash. I added extra inches in case, you know, of shrinkage, and then I washed them. What I do to wash my fleece is I use a no scent, no dye detergent, and that's all I use. So I do what the recommended amount is. I wash it in hot water because hot water is going to kill all this, and then it goes, you wash it and then you dry it. You could dry it, or you can either hang it up. There is a barrier on the top of your fleece when you buy it. It's like waterproof barrier. So if you pour water on it, it's just gonna kind of fall off. It's not gonna soak in, and you want it to soak in to the U-Haul padding. So you have to wash it several times. I think I washed my fleece 6 times, and I think some of it was because I would just wash it and then I'd wash it again. I didn't wash it and then dry it. So drying it is a huge thing too, and also I added white vinegar to it to help with that process. It just took a long time for it to actually work. I was washing for days. But just keep that in mind, and if you guys have any questions, there are many links below of different videos I have on how I wash my fleece and other stuff. They're older videos, but they still apply. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and hope you guys have a great day. Bye!